Welcome everyone to our Sunday gathering. And of course, welcome home to Carrie and Phil. If we haven't yet met, I'm Sandra Champlain. So delighted that you can spend your time with us today. Today, we're talking about welcome home, the theme of home. We're celebrating Carrie and Phil being back. They've spent the last month in New Zealand and Australia, a big trip. They've got to share their teachings and just their souls with another continent. So it's so exciting. We'll be hearing from them today. They'll be doing our prayers today, also our address, and also our demonstration of mediumship. You've got me for the reading and the healing, the announcements, the words from the week, and also all the music behind the scenes. Today really is a celebration. It's a celebration of Carrie and Phil being back. It's a celebration. This is the first time they're back since we just moved into our 5th year on our Sunday gathering. So we missed you guys when we did our birthday party, but it was just a couple weeks ago. So we can celebrate now. Carrie and Phil are two of the founders of our Sunday gathering, of course. We've just completed our 4th year and we're on to our 5th. So when we talk about home, I know Carrie and Phil will be sharing their thoughts and also some of the excitement on their trip, whatever they choose to share. But for me, home is wherever love is. And so I'm sure with Carrie and Phil traveling, they felt very much at home because they had each other. It's nice to have a bed to sleep in that's your own. It feels good to come back home. But wherever we have love, we have home. So I want to just welcome everybody to our Sunday gathering. And with that, I want to pass it over to one of my friends in the UK for our opening prayer, please.
Thank you very much, Sandra. We need to acknowledge 2 birthdays. The one that's just passed, where the Sunday gathering turned 4.
Yes, who could believe it?
I know. And we wanted to say, Happy birthday.
Can we sing it? Happy birthday to you, darling.
As we know, it's Sandra's birthday tomorrow. So if you are in Australia or New Zealand, you are already in the day of Sandra's birthday. So feel free to send in some birthday wishes to her. And we have some flowers there, and we're going to send them through the ether to you, landing one by one in your lap.
Yes, going to apport them there.
So as we move into this 211th Sunday gathering, can we start it in the usual way, which is prayer? Divine, ever-present Spirit, today within this sacred space, we bring our hearts and our souls, our very being, into the place where we can acknowledge all that is. There are times where we can take our home for granted, and yet, on the odd occasion, we look up and see something new. May we, through this Sunday gathering, be reminded of what home means for us, who home is for us, and where home is for us. We have throughout our lives had various different places we might have called home. Sandra mentioned home is where love is. There's nothing truer. Home is where love is for both a seen and unseen world. Home is where love is for our spirit friends and family and for us. Allow us to bring our hearts around the idea that home is everything and everybody that means something to us. They may be miles away, they may be on the other side of life, but let us bring everybody that matters into our thoughts so that in this one moment we are all at home with each other. Amen.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Beautiful words. For our reading today, I want to read some words from Silver Birch from the book by Maurice Barbanel called They Shall Be Comforted. Now, Maurice Barbanel was someone doing his own investigations of the afterlife, and as a reporter, he sat in on some of these so-called seances and demonstrations and things. And little did he know, when he thought he fell asleep, he spoke, or through his mouth was spoken, some words from Silver Birch. At the time, they called him Big Jump, And he went on as the founder of Psychic News magazine, but also there are books upon books upon books of the wisdom of Silver Birch. So, as we're talking about home, a lot of people refer to when we step into the spirit world as coming home. Of course, there's a big reunion with our family and friends and pets. So, this I think you'll find very interesting. One day after death, you will be the same individual as you were one day before it, except that you will have discarded your physical body. You will express yourself through your etheric body, which is a replica of the physical one. It does not, however, reproduce any of its imperfections. All diseases and infirmities will be left behind. The deaf will hear, the dumb will speak, the blind will see, the cripple will be a cripple no longer. You must try and understand that life in the spirit world is not dreamy or nebulous. It is full of activity. It is just as real as the life that each one of us lives here. We are accustomed to think of the material world as being real and solid, although actually this is not so, as the science of physics proves. The things of the mind or the spirit seem to us shadowy and vague, but to those who live on the other side, the mental is the real and the physical is the shadow. This doubtless will be hard for you to grasp, but you will find a perfect analogy if you think of your dreams. When you dream, all the things that you encounter are real at the time of their happening. They only become dreams when you wake up. If you never woke up and dreaming was the perpetual state of your existence, then that state would become your reality. The spirit world is round and about us. Some people see it and hear it because they can tune into its vibrations. It's not situated in some far off continent. It is a part of the universe, blending and intermingling with the physical world. You must dismiss from your mind the old-fashioned theological idea that after death there is an undisturbed eternal sleep. There may be, at first, a short time of rest to enable the newly arrived spirit to adjust himself to his new life. This may take a little time. Then he meets those who have preceded him. Families are reunited. Old associations are reestablished. Friendships are renewed. I know the question you will ask is, how will I be able to recognize those who have gone before? This is not a real difficulty. They will know you, having watched over you and kept in constant touch with you. Then, because the spirit world is a place where thought is the reality, they will be able to show themselves to you as you knew them. Sometimes people are puzzled because they learn that there are houses on the other side. You must remember, though, that these are not houses made from brick and mortar, but constructed out of thought. That applies to the clothing that is also worn. What about food, you may ask? Do they eat? As long as there is a desire for food, this mental desire is mentally satisfied. As long as the individual craves for food and drink, he can obtain the illusion of whatever he requires, and it satisfies him. In the spirit world, there are no language difficulties. All people of all nations speak the same language, and that is thought. There are no words to be mouthed, for ideas are conveyed telepathically from one individual to another. What work do they do? Each person seeks to express his natural talent. In this earthly life of ours, there are thousands of singers who have never sung, actors who have never acted, painters who have never painted, poets who have never written a line of poetry, and musicians who have never composed a note of music. All of these talents have never had an opportunity of being expressed because through economic circumstances, usually, the owners had to follow some other occupation to secure their bread and butter. On the other side, they can express their talents. Spirit life is not a state of vagueness or eternal sleep, but one of activity. Idleness and unemployment do not exist there. There is plenty for all to do, although I know it is difficult for us who are immersed in material affairs to appreciate the activities of the spiritual world. Apart from labor, there's opportunity for recreation and enjoyment. There are means of education and instruction in all branches of life, in just that particular form of knowledge which the Spirit desires. Of course, many of them are engaged on tasks which mean cooperation with the people of this world. Some of them are hard at work, helping to make communication between the two worlds easier. Others, attracted by people in our world who are following similar lines of research, industry, art, or reform, naturally return to inspire those efforts, although often people in this world are unconscious of the spirit work. So I'll leave it at that. That is from the book, They Shall Be Comforted by Maurice Barbanel. We're going to move into our healing. And of course, I was looking for songs on home. And what's better than Take Me Home, Country Roads? This is a different version than John Denver's version, but it's beautiful. It's from the band Music, Travel, Love. And the scenery you will see is actually from West Virginia. If you know the song, feel free to sing along with it. When we go into our healing, we like to send healing and love to all those people in the world, animals, places that need healing. See them as whole, perfect, and complete. I know there's a lot of hard things happening in the world, but see peace. See that all is well. And as we do this, I know the spirit world uses our energy and directs it to where it's needed in the world. And I also know that anytime we give, we also receive. But I thought it might be interesting for those of you who know the lyrics to the song, should you want to sing along, I know our voice, our good emotions, all that can be used. So if you know it and you want to sing along, please do. When we come back from our healing, we're going to turn it right over to Carrie and Phil, and we'll see where the Spirit moves them. So let me share now this beautiful, beautiful video for our healing.
What a beautiful song, Sandra. It's a beautiful version of a very important song. And it was exquisite to hear the words of Silver Birch. For anybody who hasn't heard his words before, go online, have a look. There's also plenty of books out there about Silver Birch, and we can put in somebody that's got lots of information about Silver Birch in the comments later on. But home, we were speaking about this as we were traveling. Yes, we do a lot of traveling, and we did before COVID. 2019, we were home 3 months of the year and working away 9 months of the year. So it's not anything that is new to us. But how we managed through that time, yes, friends and seeing people and smiling faces, and of course, working with the spirit world. But I had said to Phil, and he says exactly the same, my home is wherever he is. Any place where the people we love are is what feels like home. But we know that many of your people are at the other side of the country or in a completely different country, or perhaps even on the completely opposite side of the world, perhaps even in the other world. Now we know that grief is there, and it's a symbol and a sign of how much we love our people in the spirit world. It's a sign of how much we loved them when they were here. Now we can say that they have gone home, and I firmly believe what Sandra said, that they've gone home, they've gone to where they came from. So when we have a celebration of life after physical death, they have a celebration of life that can last, well, I wouldn't even like to imagine how long, but that's home. People will say to us and ask me, where's the spirit world? Sandra rightly said there, it's not some far distant place, but it is a world within worlds. If I get you to look at the table or the stool or the bench or the workplace in front of you and knock on it, I'm not asking you to knock on wood. I'm asking you to prove to yourself that that is a hard surface. However, if you look at that surface under a microscope, it actually has moving parts. It just moves each one of those parts very, very slowly. So slowly that in this physical world, they seem like they're not moving at all, therefore things are solid. If they're moving a bit quicker, it looks a little bit less solid. So however many movements our own molecules and cells do so that we can move about and be fluid in a way. But imagine if we began to vibrate and move at a speed that our physical body couldn't keep up with. First of all, it'd be very messy. Second of all, you would end up not being able to be seen. We know there's infrared light there. We know there's ultraviolet light there, but we can't see it. We know that there are sounds there, but we can't hear them. So we'll take the mess out of the place. If we vibrate so quickly that we can no longer inhabit our physical bodies, then I would imagine that we would find ourselves in that place called home, in that spirit world. Our loved ones, family, pets, friends, colleagues are there. We miss the physical presence of them. They're still emotionally and mentally and spiritually very much alive, but we miss the physical presence, and that has to be honoured. Grieving is a very personal experience, and it's personal for us because we're the people that are missing that contact with them. But what we have to look at is the one thing that's guaranteed from the minute we take our first breath is that there will be a time that we take our last, and hopefully we get everything done in our lives that we'd like to get done before we take our last breath. And perhaps you know people that never got to do everything they wanted to do. When we were away traveling Australia and New Zealand, there's different cultures, different beliefs, different spiritual understandings, a people whose history outdates probably anybody that I can think of. A very spiritual understanding of the world. And we find that the original peoples of this planet often have spiritual beliefs and understandings that they told in story, or they drew in picture, or they made songs about it that were sung in their own communities. The spirit world is a place that is known, but it's a place that as human beings, physical human beings, we can only surmise what it's like. And I like what Silver Birch talks about, that if we feel like we want a glass of water, then we will be satiated with a glass of water. If we want a burger, that we can imagine having a burger. We've heard that. You'll get your dinner. We can imagine what that world would be like. But we also have to recognize that for the moment, for you, for me, for Sandra, for Phil, this planet is home. For the moment, this planet is home. And this planet is glorious. We have flown halfway over it and got to the point where somebody mentioned, if we fly left or right, east or west, either way, we start making our journey back home. We were at the furthest point we could possibly be from home, but it felt like a home away from home. And I have to say, whether we are in United States, whether we are in Canada, whether we are in mainland Europe or the UK, whether we are in Australia or New Zealand or any of the countries to come where we get the privilege to share the words of the spirit world, we have been welcomed. We have been embraced. People have opened their homes to us. People have allowed us to walk around their home and have taken us as strangers or people they see online and taken us into their homes and said, here's a pantry, here's the oven, here's the cupboard.
I said, what do you want to do with those things?
It is amazing what people will do when the power of the spirit world brings people together. When that happens, magical things happen. There's a truth in what the spirit world bring. You might think that it's me talking to you and soon to be Phil talking with you. And throughout this gathering, there will be 3 people talking to you. Birthday Girl will soon be talking to you too. But it's not really us on our own. This whole gathering has just celebrated its 4th birthday. It's now into its 5th year. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it with the people who have kept it going. We certainly couldn't have done it without Miss Champlain. But we couldn't do it without the spirit world's support. Had they not supported this being the home of the gathering, it wouldn't have happened. If the spirit world didn't want us working overseas, it wouldn't happen. We cannot force anything that isn't due to happen. If you have a look at things in your life and consider and think upon what you've tried to push and force, what you've tried to make happen, and then how difficult that is until you surrender to life, to the journey, to an acceptance that what is meant to be will be. I know Doris Day sang a beautiful song called Que Sera. It is all about letting go and being exactly as you need to be and trusting it will be the way it needs to be. If you trust that as long as your heart feels home, and that as long as your heart is full of love, which is the thing that connects us all, then the spirit world are with you. As long as you speak to your loved ones, your friends, your pets, your family members in the spirit world, they hear you. Wouldn't it be lovely if, I'm not going to put you in the spirit world, I'll put myself there for the moment. If I go to the spirit world and echoes around are people saying my name out, remembering me, remembering the things I did that touched their hearts, or the things I did that drove them crazy, or the things I did that made them laugh. I hear those thoughts and I feel remembered. So make sure you allow your family members and friends and pets to hear your thoughts remembering them. That's the only thing that can keep you at home with them, is you having a conversation with them, allowing them to feel very, very much remembered.
Thank you for those wonderful words, Kerry. And I'm just going to let that silence, that pause, be just for people to reflect on what you've said. So I need to say thank you to Sandra for placing those wonderful videos over the top of that wonderful piece of music. It took us home to that place where we've just been. It allowed us to say between ourselves, oh, we remember that place. We were just there. Oh, wow, did you remember this? Photographs, memories. really touch people's hearts, and they evoke so much emotion with us. Kerry's absolutely right. Wherever each other is, it is home. And I said to the people in New Zealand and in Australia when we left there too, that part of me, part of my heart, has stayed there, because they were just like you guys, incredible people that welcomed us into their homes, into their sanctuaries, into their churches, but also into their lives. And that is beyond words, just as you have today. And for the last 4 years on the Sunday gathering, allowed us into your lives, allowed us to be part of your life. And it really strikes a chord with us that so many people have done this. But it isn't us. It isn't Sandra. It isn't Kerry. It isn't myself. It isn't Darren or Scott or any of the others. It is the spirit world. It is that power beyond power, that love of life, that immense feeling that touches our hearts. So for ourselves that have just been on this wonderful voyage to the other side of the world, to demonstrate, to speak of the Spirit, to embrace that power, to share our knowledge and love with everybody that we came into contact with, it is from the spirit world. It is with their blessing. It is with the need to be educated and to see things differently, just as you do here on the Sunday gathering. But home, I can't describe it any better than Silver Birch and what Sandra read out, or what Kerry added to it. But home for me is where the heart is. And as long as we're working from that heart, talking our truth, living our truth, and sharing our truth, then that's where home is. That's where that love is. And it's that understanding that each and every one of us today take wherever we go, not just ourselves, but you who are listening. Every time you leave your front door, you're taking your home, your heart with you. Every interaction, every smile, every greeting, every word that you speak is met, is felt, is heard. And it is that power that we all celebrate, which is that love of the spirit world and of life. It's what connects us all. It's what makes us all grow. It's what we all cherish. And with every step that we take, with every breath that we make, we really live our truths. And that home that we talk of today is everywhere where each and every one of us go. You're part of a community that is going to different events. You're part of a community that is speaking to different people and sharing your truths. You're sharing your home, your belief, your faith. Some people like to give it a title and call it religion. But actually, for me, it's far more personal than that. It is your faith and belief in a spirit world, in a universal force that creates life, that shares life. And this is what we need to really understand. Wherever we go, whatever we do, our actions are always speaking our truths, whether it is in person, whether it is over a telephone, whether it is over Zoom like today. Home is where the heart is. As long as we're talking and speaking our truths, then we've got both in the same place. And for myself and Kerry to share our home, which is of ourselves, with so many people, as Kerry said, in America, in Europe, in Canada, all over the world, it is a house that we're building. It is a home that we're building. And it has a roof that is called spirituality. And it has an intention of what we call God, or what we call love, because that's what we're about, sharing of ourselves, sharing our truths, but also listening to your truths, listening to your thoughts, listening to your ideas. Because as we all grow together and all we share things, we all grow. We're all part of life itself. We're all part of that love. So to be invited to these wonderful places, to meet these wonderful people, to share moments with them is what we call home. How they make us feel, how we make them feel, we will never forget. There's a few people that we met that made us laugh, that made us cry, that really made us think about things that they had shared with us. And even our truths, what they shared with us, we evolved. We took on board their version and we took a good look at it and it made sense. And it adds to that home, it adds to that structure, that building, not a physical building, as Sandra said, but it's one of the spirit world. It's one of intention, of morals and ethics. Once we start to build our truth, build our home, that can never be shaken. That can never be knocked down. We just learn and add to it. If you will, like a house that we dwell in, we add an extension or another room, or we extend and into an attic. We're building on top of a foundation. And home is about learning, it's about education, it's about sharing, it's about love. And the more that we can do this, we add to that knowledge and home that we've got. And we spoke about this today, myself and Kerry, where we did another video. For those people that already know, we do the video diaries of every day of our trip. We missed just a few, but we've carried them on because they gave people an insight and something to sit down and watch where they're having their coffees in the morning.
And something for Phil to do for 2 hours every night.
Keeps me out of trouble. But actually, we share a lot of truths on these because we're building something much bigger. We're wanting to share our thoughts with everybody, that we can build a community upon a community upon a community where there is no walls, no boundaries, no limits. It's about sharing truths, about being honest, about being pure. Home counts for all those words. Home is all those things I've spoken about. But the more that we can be true to those thoughts and evolve those thoughts, we realize that it's not just about the actions, the words that we do, it's those moments that we live, that we embrace, that we consciously engage with when we work as a medium or when we speak as a public speaker in a demonstration. In those moments, just like this moment, we're taking on board not just our own thoughts, but the impressions of that great unseen world, that spirit world, and how they're sharing things through us that we don't just speak of, but we live, that we expand upon. And it gives us ethics and morals and understanding and empathy of many, many people. There is 8 billion people in this world that have their own perception of their life and how they view life. And each time we do a contact, every time we meet somebody, every time that we engage with somebody, we're taking on those ideas, ideals, viewpoints, and understandings. We're gaining all the time. We're learning all the time. We're sharing all the time. And that's what home is about for me. It's not about a physical building of walls, but actually a spiritual place where we can all meet and share those truths. So even though we're back home, we're here on the Sunday gathering, sharing those truths, listening to each one and every one of you, all those people that said happy birthday to Sandra and also said to us, welcome back. It's nice to see the team together again. It's because we're part of your home. We're part of your family. We don't have to be born within the same bloodline. We choose our friends. We choose those people we want to associate with. It is what we call our home. Thank you for listening.
Beautiful words, Carrie and Phil. I think I'm in agreement here that you'd have a standing ovation right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, send Carrie and Phil some love. Press that raise hand button. That'll work just as an acknowledgement about how special you two are. And thank you for your beautiful words. Quick question for you. You have those beautiful video diaries. If someone's not already in a Facebook group of yours, could you recommend how we could see those?
We can pop that in the chat box if you like. There are a selection on one page, but there are access to all of them another way, and I'll pop that in the
Yes.
chat box.
So to give people a brief insight, they're on YouTube, they're on the Phil and Kerry app, they're on the social media, that they're all over the place. I know, Sandra, you shared some of them, and they're on YouTube, and you wanted to get your hands on them. A lot of them are about everyday journeys, the places that we were, the churches that we're in, the people that we saw. But some of them are our own thoughts and things as we were traveling in these different places. And since we've got back, we've not stopped. We've carried on with them. The last few have been about mediumship, about personal development, and the one that we did today, remind me, spiritual reality.
Yes, today was about being the medium and the contact. I'll remind you.
Yes.
He spent all day doing it.
Not quite all day.
You're going to tell the truth.
About 3 hours, because the app that I'm using to create them crashed and I had to do it all over again.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for doing them. And Carly put in the chat box, they are well worth a watch. Beautiful observations and reflections. Thank you so much, Carly. And yeah, Carrie and Phil, if you could put that in the chat box, it would be great. You get a little virtual view of their trip and then so many words from their souls. It's really beautiful. As we move in next to our demonstration of mediumship, this is a celebration. As you see, Carrie, Phil, and I are representatives of over 130 people live on our Sunday gathering across the world. We'll get some members of the spirit world saying, hey, folks, we are here. We're by your side. We love you. We see what's going on. And it's love is what it is. So you may be someone who gets a reading today, or you may not be, but the people that come through really do represent all of our loved ones that are closer than close. Even as Silver Birch said, working on that communication, they're right by our side. If this is your first time at the Sunday gathering, or if you want to pretend this is your first time at the Sunday gathering, I'll let you know a little bit how our medium demonstration goes. First of all, Carrie and Phil are longtime mediums, and also they are our tutors of mediumship. They are the best of the best, and we're so grateful to have them in our family. I don't know who's going first, but whoever does, or whoever follows, they will invite a person from the spirit world to connect with them. The spirit world, I think, has this organized ahead of time. They know exactly that you are going to be on the Sunday gathering today, and they know exactly who's here. So please listen in, because it could be a loved one of yours that comes forth. But they'll use Carrie and Phil. They'll use their thoughts, their memories, their feelings. There might be a sniff of cologne, there might be a taste of cherry pie. You never know how they're going to use them. It's a very vulnerable place to be a medium, because you have to trust that the thoughts and feelings and experiences that are coming into you are coming from a person in the spirit world. So they put it out there. If you are somebody who gets a reading today, all we need from you is a yes, no, or I don't know for the information that's coming forth. Carrie and Phil teach in their classes. No simply means a new opportunity to look and digest that information that's coming forward to them. But I can promise you this, and after knowing Carrie and Phil many, many years now, they will give everything that they've got. We have got our voice. We do. We can pick up a phone, we can send a text message. Those in the spirit world, although very much alive, the technology is not there yet for them to get through so simply. So yes, they do try to work with our thoughts and feelings and dreams, but so many times we brush them off as our imagination. So to get a good medium reading really can not only make you feel better, but it can give you your life back. And I think that's one of the reasons that we do it as well. Nothing worse than grief, and to know that your loved one is around, that really helps. As you hear these messages coming through, even if you don't work with one of our mediums today, take on board their messages, because I think with the words Carrie and Phil shared today, every one of us was touched by those words. The spirit world works no different. They know who's coming through, and some of those words you might think, gosh, I need a little of that myself. Is it a coincidence? I don't think so. As Carrie and Phil begin to work, you'll hear them bring a few initial bits of information about the person that has contacted them. So you'll hear them give a description. We want you to be on the edge of your seat. Do you understand those words as somebody you know that no longer walks on this earth, that lives in the spirit world? Now, it could be a loved one, it could be a friend, it could be a work friend that you knew, somebody you worked with, could also be somebody who's a little distant, but they're kind of part of your circle. So really listen in. If you can understand all the information they shared, that, hey, I recognize that person, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, I know I just asked you to press your raise hand button, but if you need a little bit more exercise for your finger there, you can certainly press it up and down a couple of times, see what happens on your side. It'll go from raise hand to lower hand, raise hand to lower hand. Why that's important is sometimes there's over 2 or more people that can understand the initial bits of information. That's why we want you to listen in and really just raise your hand if you can understand all the information. And then in time, Carrie and Phil would work out. And so eventually, hopefully, we'll get to one hand standing. That makes sense. And if that happens to be you, I'll press a button on my side. You'll get a little pop-up on your screen that says host would like you to unmute. And at that point, that unmute button will appear. And like I said, working with a medium here or any medium, just give them a firm yes, no, or I don't know. 1, we love it to hear your voice, but 2, it'll really help them work. What else do I have to say? Don't feel bad about saying no, yes, no, I don't know. Simple as that. Don't give away any of your information, just the yes, no, or I don't know. We want everybody to know that Carrie and Phil really are working with our loved ones, and they're very much alive. And sometimes when we volunteer information to the medium, you start thinking, did the medium give me that, or was that something I had said? So with that, we're going to play a song, and the song we're going to play is one of my favorite celebration songs. And no, it's not Kool and the Gang Celebration, although I do love that. This is Mr. Lionel Richie, Dancing on the Ceiling. Yep, from 1986. That's right. I am an 80s girl. As it is my birthday, I get to play what I want, right? Just celebrate your loved ones that are in the room with you. Even if you can't see them, they are very much alive. Didn't that just bring you back to the 80s? Absolutely. Well, Carrie and Phil are having a technical difficulty. We're not seeing their camera, but hopefully we can still hear their voices. You guys
Can
there?
you hear us, Sandra?
I can hear you.
Okay, let's just see.
I'll play with the camera and see if I can get something sorted.
Oh,
Oh, that's
There we
magic,
go.
isn't that right there?
It is magic.
haha. You're a magician now.
I am.
Sorry about that. We saw that there was a little glitch, but we thought it sorted itself, but it hadn't. But here we are. An 80s girl. I am too. I remember when that song came out and all the hair stuck with hairspray. And when the wind blew, the whole hair dew went in the wind. Yet I remember it.
Me too.
You?
Very well. That's why I have no hair left.
Absolutely, and it's a very, very good song to start us off. I'm sure they can dance on the ceiling in the spirit world. I'm sure that's very, very possible. I actually feel that I have Mum here with me, and I know that Mum comes in with this love of joy and of singing and of being this way of not wanting to focus. I know that Mum would have had a stroke, but I do not feel that it would have taken her to the spirit world. But I do know that one part of her body was very badly affected by the stroke, and I also feel part of her vision would have been affected as well. Does that make sense to anybody in our audience?
Thank you very much, Carrie. All right, friends, if you could press your raise hand button if you understand that information, please. Tick tock, tick tock. No hands up just yet, Carrie.
Okay, I do feel like it is Mum, and I do feel Mum would have had a stroke. I do feel that the stroke would have affected her eyesight, because I know there would have been a deterioration in her eye. If that wasn't due to a stroke, I do feel there is an issue there with her eye. I'm not sure. It could be glaucoma, or it could be an aspect of the eyesight affected in some way and diminished.
Carrie, we have Jane with her hand raised. Hi, Jane.
Hello. Hey, can you hear me? Good.
Hi, Jane. Hi. You understand everything I've said?
Yes.
Okay. You understand that your mum's vision would have been affected,
Yes.
but it was through the stroke that it was affected.
Yes.
Okay. And I know that one side of her body would have been very badly affected by the stroke.
One side more than the other. Yes.
Yeah. But I also know there were steps taken by your mum that this was not going to stop her, because I do feel a continuation of trying to move, articulate the mind, get the arms moving, get the legs moving.
Yes, that's right.
Where your mum was in hospital during, because I feel that your mum was hospitalized through this.
She did go in. Yes.
Okay, where your mum was in hospital, it must have been close to one of the doors that came into the ward.
Yes.
Because I know she gives me this impression of hearing the doorbell going as people want to visit the ward, and you or others visiting her, going in, opening the door and letting other visitors onto the ward to save the nurses.
Yes. Yeah. It was right
I
there.
I know that she gives me this impression of, at that point, she must have not been able to communicate as well as she could have before.
Definitely slower. Yes.
Because this is her way of letting you know she was completely aware of what you and the family were doing to save the nurses.
Mm-hmm.
I also know with your mum, there would have been a special diet your mum had to go on whilst in hospital and after leaving hospital.
Hmm. Um,
I'll take that as a no.
right.
There
Okay.
would have been alterations made to your mum's diet of how she could eat her food.
Yeah, there were changes. Yes. Yeah.
Because I know that she would have not necessarily agreed with how her food looked at times.
Yes, that's true.
Because I've got this feeling of yuck.
Yeah.
With your mum, she would, and now I know you live in Santa Fe, but with your mum, she must have, before this, thoroughly enjoyed getting out for walks.
Mhm.
I
Very much.
know that she would have gone out into the area that she lived, but she was very familiar with all the shortcuts that she could take out on her walks.
Um, yeah, I'm sure she was. She was very familiar with that outside.
Because I get the impression that after her stroke, she couldn't quite remember those shortcuts, because I feel her mind was impeded to somewhat as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I get this impression that oh, I know your mum would have not wanted, like many mothers and like many ladies of her generation, have wanted any help. And I get this impression that your mum would have made sure she could still get out after her stroke.
She did try, yes.
Because I get this feeling from her of, I am going to do this. Nobody's going to stop me. I am going to do it. You would understand too with your mum that she would have lots and lots of Pyrex dishes and casserole dishes that were stacked away in the back of the cupboards.
She did, yes. Yes.
And when you looked through those cupboards to start cooking meals for your mum, there were many, many of them still with the crust of old food on them.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
Your mum wasn't really bothered about those sorts of things. She wasn't bothered about being sanitized and being properly cleaned, because in her mind, if it didn't kill you, it made you stronger.
Yeah, very much so.
And your mum was matter of fact and very, very much of the olden ways of values of hearty food. I also know that some of your mum's recipes you would have been looking at very recently.
I was looking at one, yes, very recently.
And that would have required this casserole dish or a Pyrex dish.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna use it for something, yeah.
I know your mum gives me this impression that the Pyrex dish or casserole dish right now is far more cleaner than it was in her day.
Right, no crusties.
Please know that this is your mum's way of acknowledging that she's here, that she appreciates everything you did for her. I know that you would have looked after her. I know you would have cooked food for her. And I actually feel I remember that your mum lived with you. Is that right, Jane?
Yes, yes, she did.
Yes, I actually know that because it's just come back into my mind. But I know this is her way of acknowledging that the food is still being cooked, the dishes are still being used. But there's this element within your life, your mum wants to confirm. You must have been having a discussion, according to your mum, about everything being sanitized and clean and how unnecessary that is and how necessary it is to have a little bit of dirt.
Conversation.
Let me help you with that because I
Okay.
know she's just shown me something differently. There are very young children in your family now, Jane.
Yes, yeah,
Okay, and young children that have joined your family since your mum's departure.
yes.
Okay, this is her way of acknowledging that she sees these little ones crawling and walking and falling and picking up things and putting them in their mouths and saying, a little bit of dirt never harmed anyone. Please know that this is your mum's acknowledgement. She sees the little ones.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's
Please
what
take her love and know that she's kind of missing her crusty
Mhm.
casserole dishes.
Yeah. Thank you, Carrie.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Thanks, Jane. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Okay. I just heard a name being shouted out. I do believe that somebody in our audience would understand a lady in the spirit world. I know you understand this name, Sandra, but this lady is in the spirit world, and this lady's name would be Marion. I also know that the person in the audience, Marion, would be I feel it would be fairly close. Now, I'm not saying it's family, but I know you know her quite well. And her personality is quite colourful. She was never short of a word to say. And I know that she would have brought color and light and laughter to the room.
Thank you very much. All right, friends, if you can understand that information, go ahead and you know what to do. Press your raise hand button. All right, we have fellow Sandra with her hand raised. Sandra, if you could find and press your unmute button. Hopefully it wasn't by accident. Sandra A, are you there? Well, the hand is raised, yet she is not unmuting. So I do not know. Sandra, the chat box is open. Can you just type in there a Y for yes if you can understand this? It could be by accident that you have your hand raised. All right, friends. I think I'm going to lower her hand because we're not getting any communication. Sandra A, I'm so sorry, but we could not hear you. It could be by accident that you raised your hand.
So does anybody else in our audience understand that? The name Marion, and I do feel that it's the name of a lady I have here in the spirit world whose personality is pretty vivacious and bright and full of laughter, and the world never got to put her down.
Sandra's hand is raised again. Let's just give her one more shot, see if we could get her in. We also have Maggie with her hand raised. All right. Well, we can hear from Maggie. Hello, Maggie.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Maggie. Do you understand everything I've said?
I do. I have a sister-in-law, Marion, who passed maybe 3 years ago. She
Don't
was
give me any information, Maggie. Do you
okay.
understand that she was of the personality that I've described?
Yes,
Because I do feel that she is very much having control here and taking control here. She could have taken over a conversation, though, even if somebody else was talking, she would, not through rudeness, but she could take over a conversation.
yes,
I feel also with your sister-in-law that she would have spoken up for other members of the family, and you would have appreciated her for this.
yes,
I know that you and her would have had some conversations. She gives me this sense of comradeship with you about members of the family,
yes,
and how she would agree with you on how other people's opinions and views and behavior was inappropriate.
yes,
However, she would tell them, you wouldn't need to.
correct. Yes,
I know that your sister-in-law, this lovely lady called Marion, has this ability to bring people together. I know she's outspoken, but she did it in a way that brought people together.
yes,
And I know her wish was always about bringing people together. She never wanted to ostracize or to separate families out.
correct.
I know that if this is your sister-in-law, you would understand that she would at times put your sibling in their place.
Their sibling.
Your sibling.
Oh, my sibling. No.
You don't then marry her. I don't want to assume it's your brother and her husband, but she would have kept her husband in check,
Yes.
which is your brother.
No.
Okay, but I know she gives me, the picture she's showing me is that she would have kept her husband in check and on a very short leash.
Oh, yes.
And I know that this was not out of badness. It was out of protecting people. I
Yes.
do feel her husband would have been misunderstood by a lot of the family.
Mm, sometimes, sometimes.
Then I feel like she would have felt like her husband might have said things that had been taken out of context.
Yes.
Because she's very protective of him. It's not that she thinks he
Mhm.
would do wrong. She loves him to bits.
Yes.
And her husband's still here though,
Yes.
because I know she gives me this sense of wanting to reach out. I know Marion's husband must be a little bit under the weather at the moment,
I don't know that.
but you do keep in contact with him.
Yes.
Then if it's not her husband, you would know another gentleman who she's wanting to acknowledge that is a little bit under the weather.
On this side or the other side?
On this side.
On this side. I don't know about that.
Okay.
Mhm.
This isn't about predicting the future. Marion knows how this all works, and we're not saying that anybody's
Yes.
going to become unwell.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not physically, please know that your sister-in-law is wanting to send healing thoughts. I do feel it's to her husband, and I do feel that he must have been feeling either out of sorts or a little bit low or a little bit just out on a limb at the moment. Please know that your sister-in-law is sending her love and her hugs and wanting to tell him to go out and have fun and enjoy himself
Okay, good.
and not to stay in his own company too long.
Yes.
I know too that if right at this moment she's wanting to highlight the fact that she sees that you are bringing to the family what she would have done.
Yes.
That spark, that fun, that honesty, and that support.
Yes.
You've got, please take this as it's meant with her sense of humor. You have big shoes to fill, but you're filling them nicely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to leave your sister-in-law Marion's love with you, Maggie, and say thank you very much for allowing me to do that.
Thank you.
Good. Well done. Super.
Thank you
Hello,
both.
Sandra. Hello,
Well,
everyone.
hello.
I've got to be honest, I think I've spent too long in Australia. I keep on getting critters in my mind.
Oh,
all the
don't bring
time.
them here.
Okay, unfortunately, I've got one with me. So as I become aware, I do believe I've got a gentleman, and I do believe he was either mauled or killed by either a crocodile or alligator. But I get the impression it's a little bit like his own fault, though, because I just get the feeling I've got a character on my hands. I actually feel as well he should be brother. So I should have brother in the spirit world. And I know there would have been an incident with a crocodile or alligator, one of the two. And I know it either at least mauled him or I know took his life. And I know it sounds really awful, but I know somebody should understand this.
Thank you very much. All right. We have Lisa with her hand raised.
Okay. So hello, Lisa. Hello.
Hello, Carrie. Hello, Phil. Happy birthday,
Hello.
Miss Sandra.
Hello. I know I've delivered contacts for you before. I think I brought your husband through, and I think it was sister. Okay, but I don't believe I brought your brother through. Would that be correct?
Correct.
Okay. Would you understand with your brother, though, he was a bit of a character.
Yes.
And if I also said he could be his own worst enemy, he would do silly things.
Yes.
Because it just feels we're either, because of what's happened with this crocodile or alligator, it's almost like his own fault.
Yes.
Because it feels like I'm either fishing or in the water.
Yes.
Because again, it just feels here I should know better. But I also get the impression with him that it wasn't the first either encounter of this kind.
Yes, I was there for that encounter.
That's fine, because I know here. And would you understand, though, where it was very, very quick?
Yes.
Because I know here what I keep on seeing within my mind is this real lightning strike, and almost where I was in the wrong place. I just almost let my guard down.
Yes.
But I also feel with your brother that he lived life a little bit dangerously as well, though.
Yes.
Because it feels where I want to entertain people, I want to have almost like I don't want to be the center of attention, but my personality makes me the center of attention.
Yes.
Because it feels where I want to act silly, act the fool, and I want people to like me as well.
Yes, it runs in the family.
Okay, I'm not. You said that, I didn't say that, but I know here as well. But I also feel as well. Would I be right, Lisa, that you would know that your brother had gone in the past to either a crocodile farm or Gatorland?
Yes.
Because it feels were, and this is where I'm arguing with myself, because I just think it's really silly to do this, almost stroking crocodiles. I'm sitting on the back and stroking them and doing silly things with them.
Yes, I did that.
Ah, you did that. So I know here, because I'm every fiber in my body is just cringing, because these things are huge and I know they've got big teeth. And I hate anything with big teeth that can do damage. But I know here it just feels I don't want to. It's just the way that I can. It's almost like he's laughing. He's having a real ball of a time as well. But I also know, because I've done previous contacts for you about husband in the spirit world and sister in the spirit world, I feel all of them will get on like a house on fire.
Yes.
Because it feels where all I can hear is multiple people laughing, but it's all in good jest, it's all in good festive fun. And I know here there would never be a dry eye in the family with everybody together, because I just feel there was moments where there's hilarious memories.
Yes.
And would I also be right in saying as well that it was your brother that used to have a lot of gas?
Pardon?
I'm not sure I say this very politely. He would have wind. He would have a lot of gas.
Yes.
Because all I keep on hearing is musical people breaking wind.
And it's not me.
And it's not Kerry, and it's not Sandra, because it's that sense of breaking wind, but it's almost where I'm doing tunes with it. So there must be memories where he would have done this.
Another brother, yes.
Okay, because I
In
know here
spirit.
that in the spirit world, good, because I actually want to say what I'm hearing is somebody pass wing to the tune of Happy Birthday, and I know that's guaranteed towards Sandra a little bit. Okay, so I know it's all about fun, that real getting together, but I also want to say being in the room with that brother and your husband and everyone, I feel like there's a double act going on, so I know more than one would do this.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Unfortunately.
It's okay. It's almost like what's that film called with Eddie Murphy, where they're all around the table. But I know here it's that sense of fun that he brings forward. But I know the reason he's just coming at the moment is just to bring that upliftment, is just to really get those almost happy memories, but also to live life and not worry about what other people think, Lisa. So I'm going to leave your brother's love with you and say thank you very much for allowing me to do this.
Actually, right during the contact, he had given me a flashlight and it just flew off the counter across the room. And it did it yesterday as well. So I'm not surprised he came in today. Thank you so much, Carrie.
You're absolutely welcome. You're absolutely welcome. Thank you so much, Lisa. Okay, so as I become, oh, mind, they're having a laugh with me tonight. I also become aware here of a gentleman, and I actually feel I want to talk about husband in the spirit world, who thought he was a little bit of a magician. So I know he would do little party tricks and different things here, but it's all the cheesy little impressions. In fact, I might have made a mistake, but I'm still going to stick there. I feel there's like little impressions and little magic tricks he would have done with the children and things, but I know he would have tried them with adults but didn't get the same response.
Thank you very much. Who can understand this information? Press your raise hand button, please. Dina has her hand raised.
Hello, Dina. Do you understand everything I've said?
Yes, I do.
So you understand husband, you understand where he would think he was a little bit of a magician?
Yes.
But it's almost where he would have, because I want to take this a little bit further. It's almost like he wouldn't have just pulled coins from behind the children's ears. He would have actually tried to do proper magic tricks.
Yes.
Because again, it feels like I'm quite interested in it. I want to learn more tricks.
Yes.
Good, because again, he's trying to convince me he's a proper magician. So I know he would have had a passion for this, and I know he would have tried to entertain adults, like family get-togethers, and yourself included, with these tricks.
Yes.
And if I said that some of these tricks went a little bit wrong,
That I don't know.
okay, because it feels where I want to almost, in fact, I've done something wrong myself, so I do apologize. I take that back. It's almost where he would do little tricks, almost pretending he got things wrong, but actually it was the right way of doing it. So almost like there's a little bit of kidology in there.
Yes. Yes.
That's fine, because again, it's almost like he's convinced me he's done it wrong, but actually, when I've turned the last card, it was actually right. So I know that's all part of his performance, if you will. But like I said, I know he was very proud of being able to do this. But I also want to say as well, on a sincere part, I want to say he was a genuine guy and a loving husband.
Absolutely.
Because it's almost where I've been recognized, and the whole essence of his character changes. It's all about that love. It's all about making you feel okay. So I know here he would go out of his way to really make sure you were happy. Oops, we've lost camera. Can you still hear me?
I think it's back. I can hear you. Yes.
You can hear me. That's fine. Okay, we'll see what happens in the next. I'll sort the camera out in a second. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a bit frightening, isn't it? Both of us. But again here, I get the sense that he's that deep, genuine guy, and as long as you were happy, he was happy, because he keeps on making me aware of something I say with Kerry: happy wife, happy life. So I
Oh
know.
my God. Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Okay, because it's almost where I keep on hearing that being said over in my mind, and I can't say it well enough, and I can't say it enough. It's all about taking care. Would I also be right in saying, because he's convincing me he's been with you today, where you've been looking and talking to a photograph of him?
Yes.
Because he just said, tell her I was there. He wants you
Mm.
to be aware of that. And I know he must have kissed the photograph, because he just says, give her a kiss back. And I said, I can't because my wife's here. So I know here that's just that little bit of sense of humor and quick-wittedness he had as well.
I didn't kiss the photograph today, but I've been speaking to him.
Okay, but I know here, in fact, bear with me, I've made a little bit of a mistake.
Oh.
So I know we've just lost the camera again, so that there's something going on technically, but we'll sort that out, so don't worry. But if I've got it wrong, would I be right in saying he would always, when he left you, always gives you a kiss?
Absolutely. Yes.
That's
Yes.
fine, because I wanted to understand where I've gone wrong. But I also feel as well, when he passed, you were there with him.
Yeah. I was there right after.
That's fine. And you must have kissed him as well, Dina.
I did.
Thank you, because I know it's all about the impressions that he's giving me here. So I know he's that true gentleman. I know he could act a little bit like the clown, and I know he had that little bit of an immature side to him, but that was all part of his character. And when I say immature, not in an offensive way, I just feel he loved those party tricks, that magician side of things.
Yes, that's right
And
on.
would I be right in saying that either yourself or somebody said to him, we're going to get you on either the America's Got Talent or something?
Said to him, you mean?
Yes, yes.
No, but I I think I understand where you're going with it, but no,
Oh,
I don't.
that's fine, because I know all I kept on hearing was America's Got Talent. If it's not to him, then I know it's him being just relevant with people around. Would I also be right in saying he was always quite positive as well?
Yes, he
Because
was.
it's almost where I say this, that I want to be a positive and I want to support people, almost where I've got people or children in the family that have got talents as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
that's where I want to go with that America's Got Talent.
I see. Yes.
That's fine. So again here, but would I be right in saying it's not as a magician, sorry, not as a magician, but as a musician?
You mean someone in the family?
Yes.
That could be. I'm not aware of who that is at the moment, but
Okay.
yeah.
Then I'm not going to let you take that and have that. I don't make things fit, so I'm just going to work with him that
Okay.
little bit longer. If I said sometimes with your husband, he wouldn't always explain things fully. He'd
That I have
like
to
to
say I
work
don't
things
know.
through before he announced things.
Oh, could you repeat
Okay,
that,
he
please?
liked to work things through while he announced things.
Yes.
That's fine, because I know here it's all in a process within his mind. So I know he's very thoughtful, very methodical as well. But I also feel with your husband, he was very well organized,
Yes, he was.
because I want everything in its place. So I know here it's just his way. And I want to say, and this is him to you, it's almost like I just went to sleep. I just
Oh,
went to sleep at the end. It's almost like he wants to put your mind at rest, how he was at the end. It was just like going to sleep.
oh, that's very meaningful.
Good, because I know that's the way he brings it across. And I want to say, every step of life, Dina, he will be with you. He will
Mm.
be every step with you as well. I know that you still talk to him, because I know he's letting me know this. And again, I want to say he's never loved like he loved you, because
Hmm.
he's very romantic in a sense, because he keeps on repeating, I would marry you again.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm
Mhm.
going to leave his love with you, the essence of his love with you, and know that he's with you as well. Bear with me. Some photographs you've got are not in photo frames. They've not been sorted out yet.
Oh, that's true.
Because
Yes.
he says, why not? Because I know you've been planning to do things with them. So I know he's just around you. He's making himself aware of what's going on with you, but he just wants to leave his love with you. So I'm going to say thank you very much, Dina, for allowing me to work.
Oh, thank you very
You're
much,
absolutely
Phil.
welcome. You're absolutely welcome. Oh, one last thing. You must have been sorting out some of the, not photographs, but cards as well that he's bought you.
Yes.
Because and either yesterday or the day before you had hold of one.
Um, there's one on my dresser.
That's fine, because I know here it's about the words, the sentiment. And again, I'm just repeating that to you. Going to leave his love with you, Dina, and say thank you so much.
And you're very much thanked, Phil, for this.
You're absolutely welcome, Dina. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure to be back. I know that time has come, as always. That time always gets the better of us. It's an absolute pleasure. I do apologise for the technical errors, but we're travelling. We're not at home at the moment. Kerry's frantically trying to cool the cameras down because it's rather warm here as well. So thank you very much, ladies and gents.
Oh, thank you to you, Phil, and thank you to Carrie. Just shows how close our loved ones are. Yes, they're with you. I've got a really good story for you. But first, I'm going to make just a few brief announcements. Carrie and Phil continue to travel as they do and do live events. You can catch them in the UK coming up. Also, they'll be heading to Ontario, Canada, followed by the United States. They've got lots of good things on their website, mymediumship.com. You can also download their app as well. But you don't have to see them live. This week, we've got some brand new classes with them. We see a good medium work and we think, oh, there's so much different. Well, they've worked at what they're doing. They've trained, they've worked on themselves. It's all possible for all of us to dial in some of our soul's abilities. On Tuesday, they're offering a class for everybody if you want to join. It'll be 6 consecutive Tuesdays. This one's called Color and Psychometry. It's tapping into that psychic sense. and perceiving colors, working with someone in a Zoom room, in a breakout room, perceiving the colors and what those colors mean. Now, there's also something called psychometry, and I know there's a whole world about psychometry, but I imagine if you find like an old key or something, you put it in your hand and you're able to use your psychic sense and who was the owner and find out about them. That's the basics of psychometry, but it goes so much more. So that's Carrie and Phil's upcoming class on Tuesdays, color and psychometry. Get to play with your psychic abilities there. On Wednesday is medium level 1. So if you want to get involved with mediumship, you don't know where to start. On medium level 1, it's a gentle and fun course, really learning how your soul communicates. The psychic sense handles even mediumship, so you get to really explore that. So that's a good entry level. On Thursdays, we have medium level 2, which we'd like you ideally to have a little practice with your soul with medium level 1, or if you're already an established medium or you've been to some medium classes. Both classes are valuable. You can take them at the same time if you like. The Thursday class, you would, if you're brand new, you'd feel that's a little advanced, but get started. You can join our classes either live, you can watch the video replay. We have an at-home practice group. So even if you're watching the replays of the classes in your own time, you can meet some new friends in our Facebook group and practice the learnings. All this and more can be found at wedon'tdie.com. You can click on our at-home courses page. You can click on the store page, see everything that's coming up. Lots of good things always coming up. Also, there's a Sunday gathering page there. You can watch past Sunday gatherings. For those of you who have donated, that's where you donate to our Sunday gathering. Thank you very much also to you, you know who you are, that have made our Sunday gathering possible. We appreciate that. Also at wedon'tdie.com, you can check out the latest episodes of my podcasts. I have a wonderful lady named Amber who I just interviewed, and she's got just a goosebumpy story about how a shared death experience the moment her dad passed, and some unbelievable, wonderful signs that she's received from him. Also, thank you for the birthday shout outs and the messages. Thank you very much. I will definitely enjoy my birthday tomorrow. And nature has blessed me with a solar eclipse. There's not going to be another one in my area for 400 years. So thank you very much, universe. I will be looking up at the sky and seeing that solar eclipse. But I also did a birthday episode on We Don't Die Radio, and it is things from my book, We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death, and also some tools to help live a powerful life. Because I do believe, and Carrie and Phil as well, that we are souls having a human experience, and there's so much more to us than meets the eye. So go to wedon'tdie.com and find out more. Are you ready for my story? Well, there I was 2 nights ago researching an upcoming episode, and I found a story about a man named Cleve Baxter. Now, if you've ever heard of a lie detector machine, he's one of the inventors of that. And, you know, those subtle signals that we unconsciously give, we put out in the world that can tell if we're lying or not. Well, he did another experiment. This one was with an astronaut with the name of Brian O'Leary. Cleve Baxter took some of Brian O'Leary's white blood cells, took them in a vial, however he did that, and he put them 350 miles away from where the astronaut was. Here's the thing. People on both ends were monitoring the electrical activity. Whatever happened to Brian O'Leary, the cells 350 miles away reacted to whatever emotional response was given. In my investigation and in everything that I've learned about this, the way it was presented was, first of all, how is that possible, right? So are we impacting something 350 miles away, or are we the energy, the field? One of the things that they said in this article was, imagine a television set, right? So it gets signals from whether it's through your internet or through television satellites and things, and it broadcasts on the television. Now, great. What happens if the television dies? You need a new television, right? But does that mean the signal stops? So think about that for a minute. Television's gone. Does the signal stop? No. Why this is important is, who are we really? This is the television set. We are so much bigger than we know ourselves to be. We are these creatures that cannot die for the life of us. We continue on, even as Carrie said, in that invisible space, and right down to our tiniest molecules and atoms. All we are is vibrating energy, invisible vibrating energy. I think there's so much more to us than meets the eye, my friends. Don't live the illusion that this is it. There'll be more, I'm sure, on all this research, but I find it fascinating. So we're going to tie that in with how that feeling that the astronaut had went 350 miles away really is those thoughts that we have, those words that we share, those things that we feel. We can make a difference in time and space with them. So watch your thoughts very closely. You know, we're human. We like to think negative thoughts. Well, we don't really like it, but it's automatic, autopilot. We can substitute it for something we're grateful for. We can look for the good in life. We can let the sunshine from within out, no matter what the day is. So just catch your thoughts, be mindful of your words, and take good action. If in doubt, share some love, be kind to someone, be kind to yourself, because you're fabulous. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. With that, I'm going to turn it over to one of my friends for the closing prayer.
Thank you, Sandra, for those words of the week and those encouraging words. But it's that part of the service, ladies and gentlemen, that we close this service down in prayer, where we all unite together under that banner of love. So if you can join me by closing your eyes, thinking of your loved ones, and keeping those good intentions within your heart as we say a few words for the coming week. Great Eternal Spirit, we ask for that love to shine around us and upon us. We thank you for allowing for this Sunday gathering to take place and those people to be reunited with their loved ones. But most of all, we thank you for everything within our lives, everything within what we call home, wherever we may be, together or not, knowing that we carry each other within our hearts, knowing that we inspire many people, maybe that we lead them without even knowing. But it is all through your grace, Father. It is all through your love. And we ask for that care and that keeping to be around us until next time we meet. Amen.
Thank you so much, Phil. And normally I play a closing music video for you. Not today, something a little different. I found a short video on YouTube of about a family that they're all together on the couch ready to do a self photo, and they say one thing's missing, and that's their soldier family member who's off. But who knew that he's right around the corner and he surprises the family. So this is a emotional short video, and you can just feel the love within this family. But while you watch it, just think that at some point we're all going to have that ultimate homecoming, right? When we go to the spirit world, and you're going to feel love if you're present watching this video. So it's short, but I know it's meaningful to me. Feel the love. You are loved. You're one of a kind. You're special, just like this soldier. Let me play this for you. Yes, dare I say, you are loved that much. You are. You have one life. Make it count. Go make a difference. You are loved. Thank you, Carrie and Phil. Mwah. Glad you're back. Thank you, everyone joining us. And of course, thank you to our friends in the spirit world. Bye, everyone. Go make it a great week.